to pick up where Allie Shipman left off. They're also making a change over at third base today at their 9th start in Kaylee Phillips. But right now, Gracie Osborne behind the plate to take over for Allie Shipman.
In the circle this afternoon, a model of consistency for the Tennessee Volunteers. It's the freshman Ashley Rogers, and she has been spectacular.
She is, and just a freshman. She throws in the mid-60s. It's that up pitch, the rise ball, that is the strikeout pitch for her. As a hitter, they're going to need to stay over that, not try to swing at anything that starts waist high, because that ball will jump out of the zone. That will be the strikeout pitch for her. The drop ball is new for her this year, but right now when pressure is on, her velocity increases. So if she puts herself in a pressure situation by putting runners on, expect that velocity to go up.
And the starting lineup for the Razorbacks, Hannah McEwen leads things off. One player batting in the 7th spot, Sydney Parr, has really emerged from a role player to a significant contributor at the bottom of the lineup, and certainly against this Volunteers team who's been so good, not only at home, but overall this season, ranked 5th in the country. Important to get off to a fast start for the Razorbacks.
And that is a telltale sign of how this game is going to go. If the strike zone is going to be up to the letters, Arkansas is going to struggle. That's a great pitch for Rogers in the circle, but as a hitter, that's a tough one to stay on top of and drive down.
Rogers ahead of the count 0-2. Has not allowed an earned run in the last 19 1/3 innings pitched.
It's that rise ball that really can be a tough one to hit against. As a hitter, I hated hitting against a rise ball pitcher because you can't stay on top of it, and they look so good coming in. But late break causes a lot of pop-ups.
Bouncing ball over to short. Fielded by Segern and on to first. One down. Chelsea Segern making just her 2nd start at shortstop. Part of that jumbling in the infield that we saw in our opening graphic because of the injury to Allie Shipman.
She had 142 straight starts over there at third base before that injury, and causing some different matchups in the infield. And right now Tennessee is still trying to settle into a solid defense as they head into their next weekend of SEC play.
There's Danielle Gibson. Had been battling a bit of an injury. Still not cleared to play in the field, but good to see her back swinging the stick again as a designated player this afternoon. And again, Rogers ahead of the count 0-2.
An impressive start for the freshman in the circle, coming in and just really lighting up the zone. It does seem as though the ball has been left very big, so she's going to need to make sure that she takes those to the corners. Arkansas needs to capitalize early in the count on those pitches.
Pitch up high, appeal down to third, and she went around a strikeout. 6 pitches, 6 strikes for Ashley Rogers.
And this is what that up pitch does. It allows the pitcher to gain the advantage. It comes in belt high, so you think as a hitter that you're going to be able to just take this one deep. But as the ball continues to get closer to you, it just goes through the top of the strike zone. You cannot catch up, and Gibson couldn't hold up.
There is Katie Warrick. Couldn't hold back on the check swing. Just pounding the zone here in the top of the first. Warrick, the senior from Chapel Hill, Tennessee. 3rd-year transfer from UT Martin.
One of the things these Arkansas hitters need to do is make sure that they see the ball down. As a rise ball pitcher, you always start the ball about mid-thigh or waist high. That pitch looks so good coming out of their hand, but they know that they're facing a rise ball pitcher. If the ball does not start at your knees, you should not be going for that pitch.
0-2. And she stays alive. Warwick slapping it foul. She's had a nice year so far, batting .329, well above her career average, which coming into the season was in the mid-280s. Didn't start at the beginning of last year, worked her way into the lineup and has been a mainstay ever since. Check swing, ball pops out. Appeal up to first. Tammy Cooper says she did not go around, and so it's a 1-2 count. 2 down, the base is empty. Rogers 1-2. Over to third. Scooped up by Phillips. And a 1-2-3 inning for Ashley Rogers and the Volunteers. Tennessee. We'll see them in the dish next. You are watching the SEC on ESPN. No score, bottom of the first from Knoxville, Tennessee. Autumn Storms getting the start this afternoon for the Razorbacks.
Storms throws in the upper 60s, so she's got a little velocity on her pitch, but she loves to stay down in the zone. Because of that, as a hitter, I would move up in the box to try to catch that ball before that late break that takes it down under my knees. She'll roll a lot of ground balls. The defense going to need to really stay on their toes and get the outs.
Going against a very balanced Tennessee Volunteers lineup. Aubrey Leach leading things off. Look at that. The top 3 hitters all batting above 400. There are no breaks in this Volunteers lineup.
And that's why they're ranked number 5.
The interesting thing about Autumn Storms, she didn't come into the season expecting to really be the ace, but has emerged as that due to some struggles for Mary Half early in the SEC season. Storms has shouldered the load.
Leach here at the top of the lineup has really come into her own. A senior this year has shown power by already matching her home run totals from last year. She's got 2 on the year, but it's that average and speed at the top of the lineup that sets Tennessee up so well.
1-1. 2 strikes now on the lefty Leach. Senior from the Woodlands, Texas, preseason All-American by multiple publications. Back on the 1-2. Appeal to third. And Pat Lyon, our third base umpire, said she did not go around. Does a phenomenal job not only of getting on base but coming around to score. Active NCAA leader in runs scored. Right back to the pitcher. Storms on the first. And the tag was there from Ashley Diaz, one away.
You will see ground balls all day. Storms loves to live down in the zone. Tennessee knows that. They're going to need to just drive this ball hard, stay on plane with the pitch, not try to elevate. It's when you try to elevate a drop ball that you just top it and give those weak ground balls.
But now Amanda Ayala. The DP this afternoon for Tennessee. Bouncing ball over to second. Duncan easily on to first, 2 gone. And both pitchers very efficient in the first inning.
And that's what you see typically out of your Friday starter is pitchers that are able to fill the zone, live on corners, not give up the big hit because they're not giving up too much of the wide of the plate. So right now, just a characteristic outing for both of these starters for these 2 squads.
And now Chelsea Sagern back in the lineup after missing 6 games due to injury. Didn't play at all in the Florida series. And as we talked about at the top of the first, making just her 2nd career start over at shortstop.
I mean, she's been a staple at third base, but able to make that transition to a deeper slot defensively is a good transition for her.
Big hack off the screen, 0-2. Third in the SEC in batting average. Sagern batting .475 this year. 0-2, right back up the middle. Storms knocks it down and on to first. And both pitchers efficient. 1, 2, 3 innings for Storms and Rogers. No score after one.
Okay, Big Orange fans, be sure to keep an eye on the K's for Queso banner located.
Doodle, and her name is Harley.
I have a lizard, his name is Peavy.
I have a husky, a lab, and then another chocolate lab mix.
I have 10 pets. I have 6 horses and 2 dogs and 2 cats.
10 pets?
I tell you what, this is a great volunteer squad that has a lot of them grown up on farms. And so you see just that homegrown feel within these athletes, and they bring that Tennessee pride as they come here and play on Sherry Lee Parker Stadium.
How much do the Rogers spend a month on pet food, I wonder? That's a lot of mouths to feed. Rogers' first pitch to Ashley Diaz taken for a strike. Rogers talked about her efficiency in the first inning. 11 pitches, 10 for strikes. Danielle Gibson out of the lineup. Diaz solidified over at first base. Her and Gibson sort of trading off early in the year. Has had just a phenomenal career in Fayetteville.
Well, and that's what you see in the beginning of a season, is that change to try to figure out who can settle into a spot. Diaz and Gibson really battling for that position early on, but because of the injury of Gibson, Diaz takes that slot now and hoping to keep it as soon as Gibson is healthy and able to return.
We talked so much, too, in the open about Tennessee's shuffling defensively, but Arkansas has been right there with them due to the injuries. And the new faces, 9 new faces for Courtney Deifel's Razorback team. Pitch high and away, and one face that we don't see a lot of early in the season for Arkansas is Ryan Jackson, the transfer from Bethune-Cookman, simply because they have not found a spot for her in the lineup.
It's all about fit and it's all about chemistry, and right now Arkansas is still struggling to find the right fit.
Diaz down on strikes. 4 straight retired for Ashley Rogers. The NCAA Women's Championship continues tonight at 6:30 and 7 Eastern, 3:30 and 4 Pacific on ESPN2 with more first-round matchups. Check local listings for the game in your area. And remember that they're also live on the ESPN app so that you can watch anywhere. Great time of year. Basketball, softball, baseball. We're blending all the sports.
Well, they all collide, and not only are they colliding, but you're hitting a championship time for basketball, and those games have so much passion and so much life that it's hard to turn away. But this is a great matchup for you to find in the middle of those basketball games.
Ali Manzo. Shortstop. One of those players who have been slid into the starting lineup due to that defensive shuffling for Arkansas. The 1-1.
We've seen most of those defensive shuffles for Arkansas simply due to the fact that they could not play clean defense. A lot of errors committed over on the left side. Manzo has been the one to come in and try to be the one to plug things up over there at shortstop. No walks for her on the season, though. She's vulnerable to that rise ball.
And off speed on the outside corner. Beautiful pitch from Rogers.
And perfectly placed. You want to make sure that a changeup is located down in the zone. A changeup that is found to float or stay up in the zone is very hittable. So that changeup needs to stay down, and that one was very well placed.
2-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and back-to-back strikeouts for Ashley Rogers.
That rise ball is really coming on for Rogers in the circle. She set her up perfectly by placing that changeup in the pitch before on the outside corner. But a rise ball that starts mid, right at your waist, you've got to lay off of. And so far, Arkansas still vulnerable to that pitch.
2 down and the base is empty now for Lenny Malkin.
One of the adjustments you can make to hit a rise ball pitcher, there's two schools of thought. You can move up in the box to try to catch it before it breaks, or you can move back in the box to see it longer and be able to lay off. Right now, most of these hitters, though, staying in the middle of the box and being very vulnerable to that ball up in the zone.
Malkin making just her 4th start of the season. Sophomore from Broomfield, Colorado. Batting .263 on the year. Trying to provide some stability over on the left side of that infield. 42 errors for Arkansas this year. That leads the SEC. The 1-1.
And that pitch is not a big deal to get away from a catcher in a situation like this. Nobody on, you've got 2 outs. That rise ball, though, you have to make sure in the circle you stay on that pitch when you've got runners on base. That will allow advancements, and it'll give the team an opportunity to put a runner in scoring position.
This is high and outside, and now a 3-ball, 1-strike count to Linny Malkin. I've not seen a whole lot of walks from Rogers this year. 21 walks to 99 strikeouts. And the count is full. Payoff. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. And Rogers strikes out the side. She has 4 Ks this afternoon.
Right now, Rogers just wheeling and dealing, using all of that rise ball, and gets 3 Ks on the inning.
Random thing I ever bought online was socks.
A KitchenAid mixer.
Here's a hacky sack.
5 swimsuits that were free.
A toothbrush. Dog boots for my dog.
I would probably say taco sauce. Probably a quesadilla maker.
A garlic mincer.
A cable muncher. The most random thing I ever bought online was a t-shirt with my face on it.
So what I took away from that is dog boots for the dog and a cable muncher. What is that?
I don't have any idea, but I love Taylor Green behind the plate saying, I bought a t-shirt with my face on it. I don't know. Hopefully that was for a gift that she's not wearing that around campus.
Green making her 5th start of the season behind the plate. Kayla Green had been the primary catcher behind home, but because of the injuries and the jumbling, Taylor Green now calling the balls and strikes. Haley Bearden at the dish for Tennessee, leading things off for the Volunteers. 8 homers, 21 RBI. Rolled over to first and in foul territory.
Bearden was actually the one to come away with the big home run in the 4th inning in their midweek against Liberty. It had been a pitcher's duel between Tennessee and Liberty. Bearden able to come away with the home run, which would be the only runs of the game.
Superstar-like production from her so far this season. Lines it into left and down for the first base knock of the afternoon.
And Bearden's ahead of this pitch. She gets this one off the end of the bat. It's a great screwball that takes it over almost in the river. But Bearden able to stay on it, keeping that front shoulder in to allow the barrel to get through the zone and make contact. Not a hard hit, but it works for a single.
Hit 119 last year, batting over .330 this season. And she stands at first, nobody out. And Kaylee Phillips at the plate.
In years past, we've seen a lot of speed for Tennessee. Right now, a very balanced outlook, though. Some speed, some power, and just taking things very balanced. But Phillips comes in. trying to push things around. You see over at first base, Bearden, not a lot of speed. Phillips is going to have to push this into the outfield to get her over to third.
There's the 1-1. Freshman from Atua, Tennessee. Phillips missed the majority of the fall, recovering from a broken leg that she suffered during the summer with her travel ball team, but has really emerged as the season has gone along as a bat that you can count on in the meat of the lineup.
Of Phillips, the weeklies say she has the most raw power. She's a big hit and miss kid, and what happens a lot when you have those big swings is you take your eyes off the ball. So she's got to make sure she settles down those eyes and stays right on the pitch.
Ball in the dirt, runs the count full, 3-2.
A little conference here to just settle her down. It's a full count, so you expect to see a hitter maybe shorten up a little bit, go straight to contact, knowing that Storms will keep the ball down in the zone right now. Just looking to poke one, get it through the infield, move your runners, and set things up for your next batter, Ashley Morgan.
Karen Weekly and Ralph Weekly in their 18th seasons as co-head coaches here in Knoxville. Payoff pitch. And a strikeout of Phillips, the first of the afternoon for Autumn Storms. NCAA Women's Championship continues tonight at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific on ESPN2 with more first-round matchups. You can check local listings for the game in your area, and remember that you can also stream it live on the ESPN app, giving you the ability to watch the game anywhere. And now the lefty Ashley Morgan.
Morgan was recruited to come into this staff because of the consistency that she was able to show coming up through the ranks of travel ball, and she's brought that here to Tennessee.
Line drive, tails foul into the seats. Nice little catch down there. Staying awake.
That's right. The problem is it's not a souvenir. They're going to have to turn that one back in. That one's coming back to play. But when you've got Morgan in the box, she puts a big swing on the ball. And one of the things I love about her is she stays so balanced and in her legs.
We talk about the consistency that she has brought. She started 85 of 90 games, including today. Part of the 2018 All-SEC freshman team. But this year has significantly improved at the plate. Her batting average is over 100 points better this season. And she heads to first, hit by a pitch, and now 2 on and 1 down in the bottom of the first.
And that rule in the box, if the ball is heading towards you, you do not have to make an attempt to get out of the way. This ball clearly in the box. She wears it well and takes herself down to first base. And that's unique to me. I cannot stand in the box and take a pitch like that. However, the rule was different when I played. You had to make an attempt to get out of the way in years past, but that rule now, you do not have to make an attempt. She wears it well.
But now Kaylin Hannon. What a season she has had. Came in as a walk-on, was put on scholarship last season, and has become a starter in center field for a very good Tennessee team.
Well, she's just solidified that spot out there in center. It's such a key position. It has to communicate with both left and right, cover a lot of ground, and then also manipulate with the middle infield as well.
1-1. And a strike, pushing the count to 1-2. Karen Weekly told us coming into the weekend that Hannon is probably the most improved player on the team.
She would go home every summer in between seasons, work so hard, keep the chart during the games. She said that was the difference in how she was able to perform when she came out onto the field. she had been charting the opposing pitcher, seeing what they were throwing, recognizing patterns, and it helped her when she came out to be a batter in certain situations, so much so that she asked Coach the Weekleys if she could continue to do that chart even though she was a starter this year.
They always joke with her about it because usually that's a duty reserved for players who aren't in the lineup. Pop up down the third base line and a beautiful catch from Ali Manzo. 2 gone.
And those are the kind of plays that Arkansas has been needing. Communication, great drop step. Manzo able to come away with this one. A great drop step, but communicated with her left fielder, Sydney Parr, to be able to come away with the dive and the catch. And I love the heads up, recognizing that there may be an advancement trying to be made by second base. So she comes up with the throw, gets it there. Everybody's safe, but I love the heads up play.
And now Gracie Osborne, freshman, part of that #2 recruiting class that the Weekleys have brought to Knoxville.
I've had the privilege of watching Gracie Osborne play for several years through the travel ball circuit, and just a hard-nosed player, able to be gritty and knuckle down. And one of the things that the Weekleys love about her is they always have to tell her, whoa, slow down, like we need you to take a breath. She's such a hard worker. But Karen Weekly comes back and says, but I'd much rather say whoa than go, and try to motivate a player to get going. And so Gracie, one of those players that they have to constantly try to rein her in.
1-2 in the dirt, picked out by Green.
Green's such a good asset back there behind the dish, recognizing that Storms in the circle is going to throw the ball down. She needs to have faith in her catcher that she'll be able to block it up. And so far, Green back there doing a great job keeping the ball in front and preventing any advancements on the bases.
Strike 3 swinging. And Storms gets out of the jam. 2 on, 1 out. She gets 2 strikeouts. Still scoreless after 2. Back at the ballpark in Knoxville, Tennessee. What do you think, partner? Fajita Friday here at UT?
I don't know. The Lady Vol Locos always coming in with a new look, and we're going to have to ask them what that one is. There's always a theme, but I don't know what that theme is.
Ashley Rogers, 6 batters faced, 4 strikeouts. 27 total pitches, 20 of those for strikes. Bouncing ball over to second base. Leach, tough throw, and she makes it in time. 1 gone.
It's because of plays like that that Leach cannot move out of that second base slot. They have tried her at shortstop because of the Shipman injury, but Leach at second, just way too valuable. That's a tough play to charge hard forward on, change your momentum, get that throw back behind you. Leach, a valuable asset at second base for Tennessee.
Preseason All-American for UT. First pitch strike to Nicole Duncan. Duncan only played in 6 games last season, and I asked Courtney Deifel about that, and she said there just weren't any spots for her to get in, but she can catch, she can play second, third, she can play in the outfield, and because of that versatility in the injuries this season, she was able to work into the lineup and hasn't relinquished her starting spot.
Well, it's great to be crafty in many positions, but you usually want to have master one, and right now still crafting multiple positions, but it's worked out in her favor this year because of the shifts that have had to happen due to injury and also those errors over on the left side.
Playing over at second base this afternoon. Takes the ball high. Coaches feel like the area in which she's grown the most has actually been offensively. Worked her tail off in the offseason, got her opportunity at second base with those injuries. Really made a concerted effort with the bat this season. And another strikeout, the 5th of the afternoon for Ashley Rogers. She's retired 8 straight.
Well, and she set her up perfectly, taking those other pitches that were hittable but on the corners, so having to foul them off. That pitch starts belt high. You've got to be careful with a rise ball pitcher. If it starts belt high, you better keep your barrel on top of it. And that one, she allowed her knob to get above her barrel and gets the swing and a miss.
2 away for Taylor Green. ...102 strikeouts on the year now for Ashley Rogers. More strikeouts than walks, home runs, and earned runs combined.
And I just love that as a freshman, she's come in and been able to be so dominant. We've seen how Kaylin Arnold and Maddie Moss have had to really carry the brunt of this pitching staff the past couple of years. They did lose Erin Gabriel. They were trying to get a medical red shirt for her, but could not during Kaylin Arnold's freshman year. So because of that, Kaylin Arnold has had to mature quickly. And this gives Rogers a great opportunity for her to step in, mature, and take the brunt of the innings off of 2 arms who have really had to carry the load for several years.
Karen Weekly said when they were recruiting Rogers, they realized over the last couple of seasons that for Tennessee to really be a contender on the national stage, they had to have 3 pitchers that they could really rely on. And so they committed to going after Rogers, and now here she is. Foul ball yanked out of play. And Taylor Green battling for Arkansas.
That's the pitch that gives you confidence. That ball comes in, it rides on your hands, you yank it, and you go so hard foul. But then what have we seen Rogers do the next pitch? She goes right up in the zone, you chase, and it's a miss. So she sets up these batters so well with her other pitches to go right back to the rise.
Green lays off a pitch high and away. 1-2.
And the curveball is actually Rogers' other pitch that is her go-to pitch. She feels very comfortable with that one. The drop ball is a new pitch that she's throwing this year. We have not seen that very much. It's the rise and the curve that you'll see most of today out of the circle for her.
Green goes down swinging, and Rogers has struck out 5 of the last 6. You are watching the SEC on ESPN. Beautiful afternoon on the banks of the Tennessee River here in Knoxville, Tennessee. A top 20 matchup in a conference that is absolutely stacked. Partner 9 teams in the Southeastern Conference in the top 25. Here is Jenna Holcomb in the 9 spot, leading things off in the bottom of the 3rd for the Volunteers.
Holcomb sets up Tennessee very well in the bottom of the lineup. She steps in and has a little bit of power, but more than anything, it's those wheels that set up the top of the lineup when she flips it over.
Great crowd on hand this afternoon. Opening weekend of SEC play at home for Tennessee. Team that has just been so good at home in recent years, and especially against this Arkansas team. Get this, Volunteers are 21-2 all-time at home against the Razorbacks. 2-1 to Holcomb. Over to 3rd, long throw for Malkin, and she makes it in time, 1 away.
Slappers like to get that ball to the left side. The more time the ball can be on the ground, the longer they have to get down the line. That one not able to come away with it, and it flips over the lineup to the power and speed of Aubrey Leach.
1 hit so far for Tennessee, none for Arkansas. Both pitchers, Rogers and Storms, have been incredibly efficient to start this ball game.
And this is the expectation of a Friday night matchup, the opener of a 3-game series in a conference that has 9 teams in the top 25. It's the Friday night starter that is typically your ace. We will expect to see Storms throughout the weekend, whether in relieving positions, and I'm guessing she'll also start that Sunday game as well, knowing that she really is the arm in the circle that they've been relying on to get the wins.
2-1. Leach takes a strike on the inside. All SEC first teamer last season, led the league in batting average and runs scored. Scored over a run per game last season, leading the nation. Talking about the blend of speed and power for Aubrey Leach. Good eye on that pitch. Full count. The 3-2 to Leach. She fights it foul.
A leadoff hitter's job is to see a lot of pitches. Typically, they also are expected to come in with a very calm presence to set the tone for the rest of the offense. Leach does a good job at the top of the lineup, setting herself up to make sure that she gets the pitch she wants to drive this ball, get herself on, and set up the rest of the hitters to push her around.
Line drive into left center. That'll find the wall. Leach heading to second, and she's in with a stand-up double. Her 5th double of the season.
Outfield play is all about angles, but this one just gets on top of the left and center fielder, Carr and McEwen, so quickly. Leach is successful on this pitch because she lets it travel, lets it get back in her zone, takes the barrel to it, and just goes the other way. Doesn't try to muscle up and do too much with it. Places that right in the hole, sets herself up in scoring position.
And now the speedy Leach in scoring position. Just the 2nd time in this game so far that a team has had a runner in scoring position. And Amanda Ayala at the plate.
Ayala last year as a freshman just never found her footing. Second-guessed herself often, was unable to fall into a comfortable place. This year, Ayala swinging very confidently, and because of that, in the 2nd spot.
Second on the team with 24 RBI, and she has another. First run of the game comes across for Tennessee on an RBI single for Amanda Ayala.
And with the speed of Leach on second, the second baseman, Duncan, was hesitating and inching her way towards second, perhaps for a throw behind. Because of that move, she leaves a big hole over in the 3-4 slot. So Duncan, unable to come away with the ground ball or the line drive, Ayala takes advantage of a big hole over there on the right side.
Now Chelsea Sager. Sager 6th in the SEC in batting average. There's a throw down to second, not in time, under the tag. Ayala, a stolen base, her 6th of the season.
Ayala with a great jump at first base, is perfect on the year in stolen bases. Her 6th of the year, takes this slide to the back of the bag, but a high throw from Green. There's no way that she's going to be able to pull it down in. Monzo not able to come up with the tag. And now that puts Ayala in scoring position for the heavy-hitting Segern.
Segern with 20 RBI already this year. And the 1-1 from Storms. Sagern has been so productive this year with runners in scoring position, batting .444 with 16 RBI. And draws a one-out walk.
I don't know that was a purposeful walk. She was really tight on the zone, had been coming up with some of those calls earlier in the game from the home plate umpire. Those pitches, very good pitches, tight on the zone, but Sagern shows great discipline and is able to draw the walk.
Here is Haley Bearden with 2 on and 1 down. Dangerous position right now for Autumn Storms and the Razorbacks. Tennessee is 21-0 this season when scoring first. And they are in position to do some more damage here in the bottom of the third. Bearden, a check swing, fouls it off. She too has been so good with runners in scoring position, batting .393. 3 homers with runners in scoring position this year. The 1-1.
That's the pitch that Storms was hoping to get Sagern on in the last at bat, but now finding that corner on Bearden, that's a great spot. A power hitter is not going to be able to elevate that, so expect her to stay down in the zone.
Check swing, couldn't hold back. She goes around. Third strikeout of the afternoon, and perhaps the biggest for Autumn Storms.
And that is a pitch that is so hard to hit. It is a curveball coming into your hands, and as a lefty hitter, that ball, as it comes into your hands, you've got to get your barrel more out in front. But it's so hard to get ahead of that late break. That check swing is indicative of what we're going to see if she continues to throw that pitch to the lefties.
But now Kaylee Phillips. 9 homers this year. A little over a week ago, became the first Lady Vol since Madison Shipman in 2014 to hit homers in 4 consecutive games.
There have been home runs all throughout the SEC that have just been monstrous. And so far, you're talking about 4 home runs in four consecutive games with home runs. There's also been somebody on the Arkansas squad that gained a lot of attention for 4 home runs she hit as well. Danielle Gibson hit the home run cycle with 4 consecutive at-bats, something that had never been done in softball before.
That is all time.
Forever. The first to ever do it in the world of softball. Just absolutely amazing what she was able to do. And I don't know why they kept pitching to her.
There's a ball bounced over to short. Will be a tough play. Throw on to first from Monzo is in time. First run of the ball game scored for Tennessee. They're on top 1-0.
An RBI single. Amanda Ayala scores the first one of the game.
Back to Knoxville, Tennessee. The Volunteers on top of the Razorbacks 1-0 as we start the top of the 4th. And we welcome in Arkansas head coach Courtney Deifel. Coach, thanks for taking some time. It's been a pitcher's duel so far. Ashley Rogers has set down 9 straight. What's your message to your hitters as she's just been attacking the zone?
Well, she's getting ahead early, so we need to get in there and get ready to hit. And our swings are getting pretty big. We're chasing, so we just need to focus on hitting better pitches.
We've seen some movement for you defensively because of errors being committed. What are you liking so far in your defensive setup today?
Well, they're making the plays. Autumn's going to rely on her defense, and we need to have them strong behind her, so they're doing a great job so far.
Coach, thank you, and good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
Defense has been crisp on both sides this afternoon.
And I always worry to say it because I don't want to jinx either side, but it really comes down to defense. Defense wins championships. You cannot commit errors, put base runners on with the free pass and expect to win ball games. And so far, both of these pitchers limited free passes and also coming right at hitters. Rogers, very impressive in the circle, using that rise ball to get hitters to swing and miss, but also mixing in her other pitches to set that pitch up as well.
Not that Rogers has needed it this afternoon, but her defense has been pretty darn good in the SEC. Just 11 errors, second best in the league. First pitch swinging, McEwen drives it into right field, and she's aboard. First hit of the contest for Arkansas.
And while that's a really good hit in the 3-4 hole, I would expect Haley Bearden to come up with a much better play on this ball out in right field. It's solidly hit, but recognizing that that ball got out to the outfield quick, McEwen has to hustle down the line. I think Bearden out in right had an opportunity to get her at first, but just didn't come up with the throw hard enough.
McEwen has been on base in 25 consecutive games, and that base knock extends her hit streak to 13. Now, what can Danielle Gibson do with a runner aboard? We talked about her power. Hit for the home run cycle a few weeks back. Batting .421 this year. Out ahead of that pitch. And that levels the count at 1 apiece.
Gibson hurt that wrist in a game. Play over at first base. The ball took her into the runner and got her glove hand back in the play. So while she's able to hit defensively, unable to still break that lineup.
Courtney Deinfeld said she bent her wrist awkwardly on a tag against Tulsa. Great to see her back in the lineup, though, even as the DP, because her bat is just so important to this young Arkansas team. One-two, swing and a miss. 7 strikeouts for Ashley Rogers.
We're seeing a different Ashley Rogers. Early in the game, we saw the rise ball for the swing and a miss. Now she's changing speeds, using that changeup to offset and disrupt the timing of a big hitter like Gibson. As soon as you get Gibson to get out on that front foot, it's going to be hard to catch up with anything, and Rogers pulls the string on that one. I really love the way that she's reinventing herself as this game goes on.
1 away for Katie Warwick. Warwick has the ability to put it in the gap. 4 of her last 8 hits have been for extra bases. That just rolls left of the third base bag and foul. Popped up out of play. Rogers ahead of the count again. Something that she's done so well, not only today, but throughout the season.
What the weeklies like about her in the circle is that as she feels pressure, she gets better. She hones in those skills. Just a freshman, but such a bright spot for Tennessee so far. There's that changeup again. It's the change of speed that is so hard to adjust to as a big hitter. You want to just be able to settle into your legs, time up a pitcher, and go right at her. And early in the game, we saw Rogers just using that curve and that rise ball to continue to get the swing and the miss, but recognizing that coming back now through the lineup for the second time, she's giving these hitters a different look.
1-2. Warwick fighting to stay alive. Talk about sort of getting better as the pressure builds. Ashley Rogers says that her best strength is her composure on the mound. Describes herself as straight-faced. And Karen definitely echoed that, saying, you know, the best part of her game is the mental side. And for a freshman to have that in this conference, I mean, what does that say about her ability?
Well, even if her mental game isn't where it needs to be, you love that she thinks it is, because that confidence exudes from the circle out to everybody else on the field. A pitcher in the circle who doesn't feel confident, it makes your defense waver. But right now in the circle, giving that strong look, helps you know that you can turn things and make things happen off of her.
Warwick lines it just foul. And it stays at 1-2.
And it's the disruption of timing that causes this. The ball is not too far inside where it needed to be pulled or have the barrel way far out in front. What happens is her timing was off, so that pitch has to be located further in on the corner, or Warwick will make an adjustment to the next one.
Great battle with Warwick. Here comes the 8th pitch of the at-bat. Pops up behind the plate and out of play.
So with a 1-2 count, Warwick has to make sure she stays in her legs and doesn't swing at that pitch that starts at the belt. She has to stay on her zone. There's a game plan. Matt Michael does a great job with Arkansas setting up those game plans. And you know, coming into this, if they knew they were going to see Rogers, they would talk about that rise ball and how to lay off.
Warwick down the line in left and out of play. Holcomb was tracking it down. Couldn't get there in time.
Typically expect power or speed over on the bases in the top of the lineup, but McEwen, not a lot of speed, has no stolen bases on the year. They're looking for Warwick to make it happen.
Swing and a miss, and Rogers wins the battle against Warwick. 8th strikeout.
The second time through the lineup, you're seeing the drop ball come into play a little bit more. A pitch that she just has started to feel comfortable with the last 10 days or so, and now using it to grab the strikeout of Warwick.
A 10-pitch at bat, and the freshman grinding through it. Here's Ashley Diaz, first pitch swinging. McEwen led off the inning with a single, and she's been stranded over at first ever since.
Diaz was susceptible to that rise ball in her first at bat, so while Rogers will continue to throw that pitch, she's probably setting her up for a different pitch for the strikeout this time around.
Diaz went down swinging back in the second inning, 1 of 8 strikeouts today for Rogers.
Diaz has been the offensive target of Arkansas for many years. That freshman year, such a dominant one, but has tapered off.
This one is crushed deep to left field, and that is a 2-run bomb for Ashley Diaz. She's homered in now 3 straight games and gives the Razorbacks a 2-1 lead.
And what happens when you reinvent yourself in the circle? Well, you give away sometimes your best pitch, which was the rise for Rogers. This is a pitch that just gets left too big in the circle, or too big over the plate. And because of that, Diaz absolutely capitalizes. She does what she's supposed to do. Warwick got that same pitch and drove it foul in the last at bat. But Diaz able to take this one off her own face out on that video board out in left center field. That one was a huge hit for Diaz, and a bigger hit even for Arkansas as it gives them the lead.
Fourth home run of the season for Ashley Diaz. The go-ahead homer for the Razorbacks, and here is the lefty Ali Bonzo. Timely hitting has been the name of the game for Ashley Diaz. She hit the go-ahead grand slam in Game 2 of the series against South Carolina, part of that 7-run 6th inning for Arkansas that helped them to a series win against the Gamecocks. And now here she is again against one of the most dominant freshman pitchers in the country.
That first weekend against Ole Miss, Arkansas stumbled, only winning 1 of the 3 in that matchup. But then last week, able to turn it around, win the first 2. It was in Game 3 that the errors really emerged, and they lost that Game 3. But now, timely hitting, Diaz coming right back at it.
Bonzo rolls it over to first, And that completes the inning, but not before 2 runs come across. Ashley Diaz going yard.
Better not give a big one to Diaz because she will absolutely tear it up. That's a no-doubter. Diaz puts Arkansas on top.
Back to Knoxville, Tennessee. Arkansas on top of the Volunteers 2-1 in the bottom of the 4th as we are joined by Tennessee co-head coach Karen Weekly. And coach, opening home weekend of SEC play. You got to love the crowd that you got out here this afternoon.
Oh, we certainly do. It's a great place to play softball. We have a passionate and loyal fan base. We love playing at home.
Now, when it comes to the loss of Allie Shipman, what is it that your defense has done to respond that makes you so proud of them?
Well, you know, we just have kept rolling along. I'm really proud of the girls' resiliency and their toughness and their grit. And it seems like, you know, whatever injuries we've had this year, we've had a couple. Of course, Allie's is the most severe, but we were without Chelsea Sagern for about 2.5 weeks. And we've shuffled some pieces around, and we're still trying to kind of find what's the best combination defensively for us. But they just keep moving along. And, you know, it's like Pat Summitt used to say, right foot, left foot, breathe. You just put one foot in front of the other and find a way to get it done.
Coach, thanks for your time and good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
I love the reference to Pat Summitt because Ralph Weekly said when they first got to campus 18 years ago, Pat Summitt's advice to them was schedule a tough non-conference because the RPI matters at the end of the year to get into the College World Series.
And I would say 18 years ago that was true. The non-conference needed to be a hard IPI schedule, but now when you play in the SEC, you see your RPI continue to go up because there are so many teams in the top 25 that you face week in and week out. Tennessee this year will have Alabama, UK, South Carolina, and LSU as their bye teams. So they can take a breath and not have to face them. But, hey, heads up, there's a whole lot more teams coming at you that you're going to have to face that are in the top 25.
They've already played 10 games coming into today against teams either receiving votes or in the top 25 and have posted an impressive 6-4 record against said teams. Here is Ashley Morgan against Autumn Storms. Both teams scoring in the 3rd, second time through the order for both sides. Morgan was hit by a pitch back in the 2nd inning. The 1-2. Right back to Storms. And a confident throw over to first, 1 away. Well, we do have basketball going on. The NCAA Women's Championship continues tonight at 6:30 and 7 Eastern, 3:30 and 4 Pacific on ESPN2 with more first-round matchups. Check local listings for the game in your area. And remember, they're all available live on the ESPN app, so you can watch anywhere. March Madness.
I just love this time of year, the excitement and the enthusiasm that comes into championship time. I mean, it's contagious. And not only that, you've got great SEC softball that combats it with a super regional feel every single weekend.
Top 20 matchup in the SEC on ESPN this weekend from Knoxville. Great matchups around the conference this weekend. We're glad to have you joining us on a beautiful day for softball. Here's the 2-0 to Kaylin Hannon. Storms 2-1, misses low.
With so many lefties in the lineup, that curveball and drop ball have really been effective for Storms. And there it is again. It's so hard to read that pitch as a lefty because as the ball's coming in, it's riding closer and closer to your hands. But when the ball's on the inside part of the plate, you have to get your barrel out in front to attack it. So it's deceptive as the ball continues to come closer to you.
Pitch misses low on a full count, and Hannon draws a 1-out walk. Getting you started with a top 20 matchup on a loaded weekend in the SEC. Alabama testing their perfect record down in College Station this weekend. What else jumps out to you?
Well, they're the only team left that's undefeated in the nation, so that's a big matchup, especially since the SEC tournament's going to be at Texas A&M this year. So it gives them a chance to not only play in that arena, but also test that perfect record that they have going right now. LSU coming off a big weekend at Florida as well, or Florida was at their place, so now they travel to Georgia, try to come away with some more and keep that momentum as they head through the rest of SEC play.
Were you surprised that LSU came away with the series win against Florida?
I was. I did not expect that, and Florida still ranked so high. Their RPI up there as well, but for them, Florida having a little bit of a hiccup right now through SEC play.
They've won 4 consecutive regular season championships, going for an unprecedented 5th, and yet they've dropped the first 2 series in the SEC. Here's Gracie Osborne fouling off the 0-2.
But you often hear Michelle Smith say iron forges iron, right? And in that statement, that's just simply telling you learn a lot when you have to go against the best. And right now, Florida facing some of the best competition within the SEC. They're learning from those mistakes. Don't expect them to roll over. They will come back.
Osborne bouncing ball to third and foul. Certainly Florida used to having the target on its back. You win 4 consecutive regular season crowns. There's no sneaking up on anybody anymore.
Well, you always have the target on your back, and so you get used to playing with it there. You will always get everyone's A game when they come and play you, and so that's not different this year.
It's interesting, Courtney Deifel, who has come in and completely reinvigorated and turned around this Arkansas program. They've increased their wins each season. A 500 record last year in the SEC, picked 5th preseason, the highest in program history. She said, we're not sneaking up on anyone anymore. Here's a ball in the left from Gracie Osborne, and now 2-on for the Volunteers.
And a great rebound from her first at-bat where she struck out on a drop that just jammed her up. That's a great at-bat to be able to attack a pitch, left a little bit too big by Storms, able to bust that one through the 5-6 hole. A great hit for her and puts her team in an opportunity with a runner in scoring position. So Osborne coming away with a chance to be behind the plate instead of at shortstop because of the Allie Shipman injury. Osborne coming away with a big hit for Tennessee.
And now the 9-hitter, Jenna Holcomb. Tennessee 1 for 5 with runners in scoring position so far this afternoon.
So take notice of how shallow your infield's playing. Your outfield is also pulled in. Jenna Holcomb does not have a lot of power. She has no home runs on the year, so she is not looking to bust this one over the outfielders' heads. What she's looking to do is just bust it through her infield. Because the infield is so far in, it gives her an opportunity to really just punch one, lay it up over the heads of a middle infielder. But you will not see a drag bunt to move a runner, I don't think, in this situation. They don't need to trade outs to move runners.
Swinging away, dribbler to third, charging and Malkin, and no play as she bobbles the ball. All runners advance safely.
Why do you need slappers in a lineup? Because they put pressure on a defense. This is a routine hit that Malkin can come away with, but because of the speed of Holcomb, that forces a little bit of a miscue by Malkin down the line. It's the speed that changes the look of that play.
And now the bases are loaded for Aubrey Leach.
The defense still pulled in for Aubrey Leach. I don't know if I agree with that decision, though. She has power, she has home run power, and can bust this one through the infield quick.
Leach drives it into left, and that's down. One run comes across, and now Osborne scoring from second. It's a 2-run single for Aubrey Leach.
And this is what makes Aubrey Leach so effective. She doesn't try to do too much with this pitch. Over the outer half of the plate, she allows it to travel deep. She did that in her last at bat as well and drove it to the hole between center and left. So this one does it again. Doesn't try to get crafty, just places it right down the line as a slapper, has great barrel control and does it.
Backhanded at second by Duncan. The tag was good. Throw to first, not in time. So Holcomb advances to third. Ayala safe on the fielder's choice. Runners at the corners and 2 down. And one thing we talked about in the open is the errors for Arkansas. 43 now after the error on Malkin, and it leads to 2 runs coming across for Tennessee.
Storms in the circle yields ground balls. You cannot have miscues defensively and expect to be effective, especially against a hard-hitting Tennessee team that has so many different tools.
Ayala takes second base. Second stolen base of the day. And now 2 in scoring position for Chelsea Seger, who has been one of the more dangerous hitters in this Volunteers lineup.
But you cannot pitch around Seger. Bearden, who hits behind her, has a heavy bat as well, has 8 home runs on the year. So Seger, just 1 home run, they're going to need to attack right at her so they don't have to get further into the lineup for Tennessee. Segern's drop in power is something that caught me by surprise. She had 7 home runs last year. She had Megan Gregg that hit with as well, that supplied a lot of power. But I'm expecting more big hits out of Segern.
Check swing. Did she hold back? No. And a 2-2 count with 2 down and 2 on. That'll score at least 1. They wave around Ayala, and she comes across. Another 2-out, 2-run single for the Volunteers.
Situational hitting, perfect. Bearden now steps to the plate with power, but Segern takes this one. Doesn't try to do too much. It's a ground ball, right? But all she does, she pokes it through the 3-4 hole. On the inner half, she takes this ball and doesn't try to lift. That's a great hitter who's able to come away with a perfect hit with runners in scoring position.
And coming into the inning, they were 1 for 5 with runners in scoring position. And now have capitalized with 2 outs. The inning continues now for Haley Bearden. What a response from the Volunteers.
That's what you're looking for out of a championship quality team. You're looking for a team that responds when their backs are against the wall. Arkansas in the last half inning able to come away with a big home run that would push them ahead. But now Tennessee absolutely responding and not trying to do it with the long ball, just whittling away, stringing base hit after base hit, and using speed to dominate.
The 1-1 rolled over to first, scooped up in foul territory by Ashley Diaz, and the count is now 1 ball, 2 strikes. Certainly this Tennessee team has been a championship contender over the years. They've made 15 consecutive regionals. And they really feel like this season they have great balance from top to bottom in the lineup. And then, of course, we've seen it today from Ashley Rogers, a 3-woman pitching staff that is so solid, really. I mean, they feel confident no matter who is in the circle. 1-2, over to second. Duncan knocks it down, and with composure gets it over to first. Tennessee, a big inning, on top by 3 after 4. You are watching the SEC on ESPN from good old Rocky Top in Knoxville, Tennessee, and the Volunteers back on top after a 4-run inning in the 4th. And I'll tell you what, partner, the fans loving it. Ashley Rogers back in the circle. She's got to be loving it, posting a 1.31 ERA so far this year.
So dominant in the circle with great defense behind her and then big bats to put runs up on the board. This really is a balanced look for Tennessee, and right now showing that they can play clean defense even though they've been shifted around because of injuries, and able to come away with a response as Arkansas got the lead in the top half of the last inning. The bottom half, though, they showed that they're not going away.
Lenny Malkin leading things off. 6, 7, and 8 the due-ups this inning for Arkansas. Last inning finally got after Rogers after she had set down the first 9 batters she faced. Pop-up foul and out of play behind home. Rogers ahead in the count. Here in the top of the 5th, she has 8 strikeouts already this afternoon. Going for her 9th here. Right back to her, and on to first. An easy out number 1 for Ashley Rogers. You can log on to ESPNW.com. Meet Washington's shortstop sensation, Sis Bates, who inspires Florida State's Megan King, plus scores, highlights, and more. Always great articles around the world of women's sports, and especially SEC softball. Of course, 7 Innings podcast, another great spot to get all of your softball information, and you were just on the podcast recently.
And one of the things we talked about were slappers. Are they still relevant in the game today? And right now, another slapper up to bat, Sydney Parr. The defense will play her in, hoping that she will just drop some short game. The outfield responds in like, and they are in as well.
Parr has really emerged as a major contributor at the bottom of this lineup. Did not take an at-bat last year in a competitive game situation. Appearing in 36 games, mainly as a pinch runner, some as a defensive replacement. Batting .356 in 6 SEC games coming into the day. That is best on the team.
And she's one of the fastest runners. This Arkansas team only has 11 steals on the season. Parr has 3 of those 11. So if they're looking to start off an inning, Parr is a great way to do that. Be able to put her on, use that short game, punch it through the infield, get her on, and give them some wheels to start off an inning where they need to respond because they're down by 3 runs.
Corner infield drawn in for Parr. It's the pitch low and outside, and a 1-2 count.
Looking at that defense, you'll see the corners pulled in, especially over at third. Kaylee Phillips expecting to come away with something and also cut off anything heading toward that 5-6 hole early.
Just got a piece of that.
And she was out of the box. That slapper rule came into effect last year in 2018, and it is still affecting our game. Check out that left foot. As it comes across, it is out of the box. Now, it doesn't have to be contact that yields a fair hit. Any contact made with your foot out of the box is an automatic dead ball out, and Parr goes down because of it.
And Kayla Bro talked on that 7 Innings podcast about that rule, saying that she was taught to step on the chalk as a youth growing up playing as a slapper. And now players are having to adapt with the rule change at the college level.
So you're seeing these players who have grown up their entire lives that as long as they were in contact with the white line, they were not out of the box. And that gave them the advantage over the outside pitch. They could reach things that they cannot reach now as they try to change their footwork. and stay straight through the box.
So 2 outs, and now an 0-2 count to Nicole Duncan. Ashley Rogers right back to her efficient ways after giving up 2 runs in the 4th. Going for strikeout number 9. The 1-2 to Duncan.
And you wonder, does a pitcher lose her spin if she hasn't thrown that rise ball in a while? We've seen her throwing the curve, we've seen her throwing the drop, we've seen her throwing that changeup. The rise ball now seeming to get away from her, and Arkansas able to lay off because the ball is too far out of the zone.
And she misses low that time. 3 straight balls out of the zone, runs the count full to Nicole Duncan. Check swing, and she went around. 9 strikeouts, and Rogers retires the side. 5-2 lead for the Volunteers. Tennessee on top of the Arkansas Razorbacks 5-2 as we get set for the bottom of the 5th from Nashville, Tennessee. A lot going on in the SEC, but also in the national headlines, partner. And how about Rachel Garcia and that UCLA team out in the Pac-12?
She came away with not only the pitcher of the week, but the player of the week in the same week. Only the first player ever to have that 2 times in one year.
Of course, Alabama, the only undefeated team left, 31-0. That is the longest win streak in program history. First RPI release, Florida State 1, Tennessee 10, Arkansas inside the top 30.
Those RPI numbers so important as you head down the stretch looking for postseason opportunities. You want to be within the top 8 seeds to be able to host a regional and push for maybe a super regional host as well. If you can come away victorious in that first round, RPI number is really important as you head into the postseason.
There's Kaylee Phillips. Talk about RPI. Alabama ranked 3rd in the country, but not 3rd in the RPI. They're 11th in the RPI behind teams like Arizona, who have 7 losses this season.
Losses don't affect you as much as when they come against high RPI teams. 2 of the Arizona's losses were against Florida State.
Phillips drives into left center, and it's off the top of the wall. And she'll coast into second base with a leadoff double. Her 2nd double of the season.
Just about 2 feet short of making this a 4-bagger. This ball left up in the zone by Storms is hammered by Phillips. This is a great shot into the outfield, just off the top of the wall. She was actually watching it as she was coming around first base and hit the back of the bag. You got to be careful when that happens too, because sometimes you can roll that ankle, but comes away with a stand-up double, just about 18 inches away from a home run.
Bouncing ball up the middle from Morgan. Fielded at second by Duncan. 1 away as Phillips moves on to 3rd.
I'm really liking Nicole Duncan over there at second base, playing a good, solid, defensive second base. Recognized she came away with that ball early last inning. It bounced off her chest, but kept her composure, got the out at 1. So while errors have been a problem for Arkansas, right now, Nicole Duncan, one of those great position players, keeping things calm and getting the outs.
The NCAA Women's Championship continues tonight at 6:30 and 7 Eastern, 3:30 and 4 Pacific on ESPN2 with more first-round matchups. Check local listings for the game in your area. And remember, you can also always stream it live on the ESPN app watching it anywhere. And now a pinch runner coming on for Tennessee. Treasury Pondexter will stand at third. The junior from Covington, Texas.
Poindexter really fast, has been coming off the bench for Tennessee for quite a while, able to bring speed, especially to third base, in a great situation for Tennessee to get another run.
Up the middle, Poindexter will try to score, and she does so easily without a throw. And so Kaylin Hannon drives in the 6th run of the game for Tennessee.
And you've got to be fast. If you can score on a ground ball back to the pitcher, Kaylin Hannon, that was not her job. She was supposed to get that ball somewhere out in the field. But Poindexter, a good jump, recognizes that there is not even a look back by Storms in the circle. Because there is no look back, Poindexter able to break right away.
Volunteers now on top by 4. And this is a tough team to come back against. They've held opponents to 2 runs or less 23 times this season in 28 games played. Here's a ball over to short, fielded by Monzo and on to first to end the inning. But another run comes across for Tennessee. They've scored in 3 consecutive innings and lead by 4. Freshman sensation Ashley Rogers has been just that, sensational with 9 strikeouts.
She has used so many different looks, up, down, change up, and has been able to be dominant in the circle. Out of 75 pitches, she's got 57 strikes, super efficient and dealing in the circle for Tennessee.
Also impressive how she was able to rebound after giving up a 2-run homer in the 4th to Ashley Diaz, and then comes right back the next inning and retires the side.
And she got a little help out of Sydney Parr stepping out of the box. That could have been a different look in that at bat, but came back with a great strikeout on a check swing for Nicole Duncan. So now at the bottom of the lineup, she's got 9-1-2 in this inning. I wonder what she'll do as she flips the lineup again. We saw her change and reinvent herself the 2nd time through the lineup. So this 3rd time through, will Karen Weekly make a change, or will she ride the arm of the freshman in the circle?
Taylor Green, the 9-hitter, leads things off for Arkansas. Razorbacks coming off an SEC Series win against South Carolina. Great bounce back after losing 4 straight, including a midweek game out of conference. I think that surprised a lot of people, and maybe even surprised Arkansas itself. And we talked with Courtney Deifel, and she said, basically, our young team was just riding the wave of emotions too much during the course of the game. And we really tried to get back to focusing on what we can control against South Carolina.
When you play a heavy SEC schedule, the problem is the emotions do ride high. You get a lot of hacks. You've got a lot of competition coming at you. Courtney Deifel recognizing in their 4th year at Arkansas that she's got some players that need to just not worry about who's on the field opposing them, but just worry about their gut check and come right at it with their preparation.
Good eye from Green. 2-ball, 2-strike count. Struck out swinging back in the 3rd. Arkansas trying to put a rally together here late.
Green has done a really good job back behind the plate today, catching Autumn Storms for Arkansas. She's been a wall back there. Balls have not been back to the backstop. Anything in the dirt she's kept in front, and so right now, Green needing to come through with a hit to start off this inning for Arkansas. And she's doing a great job of just staying defensive on the plate. Ashley Rogers got a curveball to lead things off in the first pitch of this at bat, but Green has battled, fought things off as things have as this at bat has gone on. We've not seen that rise ball been a factor in this at bat.
2-2. Pop up down the left field line. In the field of play and just out of the mid of Jenna Holcomb. Tough play to make. Ball was moving from the sunlight into the shade, close to the grandstands.
And while that is a tough play to make, that is a catch that is expected. Holcomb should have been able to come away with that. The reason that the infielders continued to retreat to try to get to it was because she didn't talk. So priority goes to an outfielder on a fly ball. If an outfielder calls it, the infielders need to retreat. However, nobody called it, so everybody got a little hesitant there at the end, and they came away with some alligator arms and no catch.
So the freshman Green from Milton, Georgia, still alive at the dish. And continues to fight off pitch after pitch from Ashley Rogers.
Rogers has not thrown a change of speed or a changeup in this at bat, nor has she gone upstairs. I would expect to be that's what she's trying to set up to get the swing and a miss, but right now, Green really on that curveball and that drop ball that Rogers continues to throw.
10 pitches in the at bat for Rogers.
Rogers took a little something off that one. That one came in at 60 miles an hour. We typically see her between 63 and 65. So trying to disrupt the timing of Green, but she's going to need to do something else. She is really timed up right now with Rogers and that ball down in the zone.
Another foul ball. And now a visit to the mound from Gracie Osborne. And interesting because Osborne hasn't played a ton of catcher this season. That was Allie Shipman's duty. But she is out with the season due to injury. And it's funny, Gracie Osborne, when she committed to Tennessee, told the Weekly she was worried about not getting enough chances behind the plate. And now here she is catching one of the best freshmen in the country, Ashley Rogers.
Osborne had been a catcher in her travel ball career. That was how I knew her. When we would face her team, she would be behind the dish, and she's very vocal, very confident. And that's what you need in a catcher, to be able to control the game. But when she heard that the Weeklies would potentially use her at shortstop, she moved to that position in travel ball and was getting the reps to be there, but broke her leg in travel ball the summer before she came here to Tennessee. And not only did she miss the rest of her summer travel ball, but she also missed the fall. And so January was a big month for Tennessee as they tried to get everything in place and get all the dominoes to sit just perfectly. And then Allie Shipman goes down.
Right.
So back behind the dish goes Osborne.
Both teams sort of dealt with injuries to significant players in the lineup. Obviously Shipman, a big component of this #2 freshman recruiting class for the Weeklies at Tennessee, as is Ashley Rogers, one of the most highly sought after players, not just pitchers, but players in the country as a prep player right here in the state of Tennessee. Payoff pitch over to third, and a foul ball. Ed Clark ruling it foul. And much to the chagrin of Courtney Deifel and the rest of the Arkansas staff.
And the argument is that the ball hit the bag. As soon as that ball got into the outfield and the home plate umpire threw his hands up, the dugout exploded. Their argument is this ball hit the bag on its line down the field, and that's exactly what happened. It looks like it did hit the bag. It changed its direction just a little bit, but there is no replay in the game of softball. There will be in the SEC tournament for the first time ever. That will be a reviewable play in the SEC tournament, but right now, not a reviewable play. And so it goes down as a foul ball. Home plate umpire called it foul, and we go back with Green in the box.
Tough break for Arkansas, and now Green will try to recollect herself. And draws a walk.
And Matt, that's the best at bat we've seen all day out of an Arkansas hitter. She was constantly fouling off pitches, getting herself to be able to see The ball laid off the rise, did not swing out of it. A 14 pitch at bat, an absolute battle, and a great walk for Taylor Green to lead off the inning.
And now we'll have a pinch runner for Arkansas. Sam Torres comes in at first base. And now a visit to the mound from Karen Weekly.
And this visit probably has a flavor of, hey, this is our third time through the lineup. How do we want to attack these hitters? Here's how we're going to do it. This is one of those times where I wish we had a mic in the circle. Those mic'd up Mondays have been one of my favorite components of this season, being able to get inside a dugout, get inside a circle or a meeting in the circle, and to be able to hear what those coaches are saying, how they're encouraging their players, what they're teaching them to do. And I would say probably the coolest moment was Beth Tarina watching Aaliyah Andrews come in and score that game winner against Florida this last Monday.
I was also a big fan of Mike Smith over at Ole Miss when Kylan Becker made that catch over the center field wall, and he went nuts, as did the fans in Oxford.
So far, big moments caught on Mic'd Up Monday. Don't forget to miss it.
Sam Torres, the pinch runner, on for Taylor Green, who drew an uncharacteristic walk against Ashley Rogers. It was her first in over 23 innings. But now back to the top of the order, Hannah McEwen. McEwen singled and scored back in the fourth. Part of that two-run inning for Arkansas, and goes after a rise ball 0-2.
So with the pinch runner Torres over on first base, what you would expect to see is movement out of that runner for a stolen base, recognizing that Tennessee has not thrown out a base stealer all year. So they are vulnerable behind the plate. Osborne is a good catcher. However, nobody has been thrown out on a stolen base.
There's a line drive into right, and it hops in front of the mitt of Haley Bearden for a single. 2 on and nobody out. The NCAA Women's Championship continues tonight at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific on ESPN2 with more first-round matchups. Check local listings for the game in your area, and remember, they are also live on the ESPN app, so you can watch anywhere. A little rally being put together for Arkansas. Time called. 2 on and nobody out for the Razorbacks. Ralph Weekly comes out to talk with home plate umpire Ed Clark. And we will step aside for a pitching change break and tell you all about it when we come back from Knoxville. Back to Knoxville, Tennessee, top of the 6th, and a pitching change for the Volunteers. It is the junior from Maryville, Tennessee, Kaylin Arnold, relieving Ashley Rogers.
And Arnold will come in throwing about the same speed as Ashley Rogers, but she loves her changeup. So it's that mix of speed that really throws off hitters. I, as a hitter, would want to make sure that I stay in my legs to attack her. If I get out on my front side, I will release my barrel too early and come away with miss hits. So hitting against Kaylin Arnold, you've got to see the ball down in the zone and stay in your legs.
Ashley Rogers continuing her string of sensational performances. 5 innings, 9 strikeouts. Her first walk in over 23 innings pitched comes in this inning.
When you pitch by committee, this is what you expect. It's the 3rd time through the lineup. She had just given up a leadoff walk at the bottom in the 9-hole to Taylor Green, then a single to follow it up at the top of the lineup by Hannah McEwen. So not an uncharacteristic change, but a great outing for a freshman for Tennessee. And those 9 strikeouts, very dominant because she was able to mix it up that 2nd time through the lineup.
And so now Kaylin Arnold with 2 on and nobody out takes on Danielle Gibson. Certainly has plenty of power in her bat. Gibson this year with runners in scoring position, batting .353 with 25 runs batted in. Most on the team. Goes after a pitch high and tight. 1-1.
And she started her off with that change of speed, and it's a good hold by Danielle Gibson. As a power hitter, you do not want to hit a changeup early in the count. You reserve that for when you fall behind and you get 2 strikes. So an aggressive hitter like Gibson, that's a great second pitch to go up in the zone and get the swing and a miss.
And now Karen Weekly will come out of the dugout.
Wristband card in, but she looked to be asking a question about Arkansas. Nothing changes, though, and Kaylin Arnold steps in with an even count.
Gibson fouls it straight back and out of play. Arkansas does have some speed on the base path. Sam Torres came in to pinch run for Taylor Green. She stands at second base. Trailing by 4 in the final innings here in Knoxville. Game 1 of this 3-game set. The 1-2 from Arnold.
And this is the first year for Danielle Gibson to wear an Arkansas uniform. She is a mid-year transfer from ASU, a huge hitter for ASU, who went to the College World Series last year. They beat South Carolina at a super regional held at home there in Phoenix, but steps in with a lot of experience, even though it's her first year with an Arkansas Razorback uniform.
It was all Pac-12 at the University of Arizona last season, and part of a number of newcomers that Courtney Deifel has brought in. 9 new faces, including a handful of transfers. Ryan Jackson was also a mid-year transfer for Arkansas. 2-2, swing and a miss, and it gets behind home plate. Batter is called out, so Gibson will go back to the dugout, but both runners advance. So still an important at-bat for Gibson.
Well, and that's her 3rd strikeout of the day. Because first base was occupied, that is a recorded out. There is no opportunity for her to advance down the line, but because of the pass ball, or because the ball got by Osborne, it allowed the base runners to move up and give Arkansas an opportunity with runners now at 2nd and 3rd.
Still only 1 out, and now Katie Warwick digs in. She worked a 10-pitch at bat in the 4th against Ashley Rogers before eventually striking out, but gave Ashley Diaz plenty of opportunities to see Rogers throw, and then Diaz came in and hit a 2-run bomb to left center. So far, the only 2 runs of the day for Arkansas came off that homer from Diaz.
Arnold right now adding a drop to her repertoire as well this year. What looks to be a curveball is actually a 2-seam fastball that runs away from these right-handed batters. So she typically throws that fastball to spots, also throws a curve, but not as effectively, and that drop ball very new. Expect to see that change of speed or changeup more often than not.
Warwick over the head of the second baseman, Leachin into right field, and 1 run comes across. And the Honks cut the lead in half. An RBI single for Katie Warwick also sends McEwen over to 3rd. And now Ashley Diaz comes up, and in the 4th, A bomb to left center.
It was a no-doubter. She hit it off her own face out of that huge video board out there in left field. The ball got left big. Ashley Rogers in the circle dishes a flat rise ball, and Diaz able to capitalize. Now with a new pitcher in the circle, I would anticipate that Kaylin Arnold will try to disrupt her timing, getting her out on her front side, recognizing the power that she has in those legs. She's going to need to get her out of those legs if she doesn't want to get this ball to leave the yard as well.
And Keely Edwards pinch running over at first base. Second pinch runner of the inning for Courtney Deifel. Certainly the best opportunity to score multiple runs that Arkansas has had in this game. Have to take advantage here against a Tennessee team that has just been so tough when playing ahead late in games.
Well, we referenced it earlier, 21-0 when they start off, when they get the lead first. And right now Diaz trying to come back and get a couple more to etch away at the lead.
Fooled on that swing, and the count is now 1-1. Four homers. Had one earlier in the game. Had the go-ahead grand slam like we talked about in game 2 of that South Carolina game. And now drives this deep to left field. Back on it, Holcomb, and the park will hold it. But another runner tags. That is McEwen from third. And now a 6-4 deficit for Arkansas.
Off the bat, I thought that one had a chance to go, but it was just too high. The wind blowing across the field and not out. Just gets under it. The hot term is trying to see what kind of a swing plane you get on. But that one just elevated too much, but does get the sacrifice fly and another run for Arkansas.
Tying run at the plate. Ali Manzo digs in. With Edwards over at first. Manzo and Parr, two players who've been more role players in years past, really emerging as contributors as she lines this into the gap in left, and it's to the wall. Edwards rounding third, and Deifel will put up the stop sign. It's a 2-out double for Ali Manzo.
Play in the outfield is all about angles and drop steps. So out in center, Kaylin Hannon did not drop step, took a very lateral line to this ball, and because of it has to play chase. A hard hit right through the infield, but because of the lack of a drop step, she takes too tight of an angle and allows the ball to get all the way to the wall, which would give Arkansas an opportunity to move up an additional 60 feet.
Manzo's third double. And now another pinch runner, Maggie Hicks, stands at second base. She would represent the tying run and a pitching change. They go back to Ashley Rogers, who came out earlier in the inning. Arnold faced 4 batters. And now the Weekly's going back to Ashley Rogers.
In the game of softball, you do have a re-entry rule. It is not like baseball where when you come out, you are done. So because Ashley Rogers was a starter, she is allowed to come back in because of that re-entry rule and try to get Arkansas out and get Tennessee back in the dugout. A big response for Arkansas. This is what you like to see out of a team that has been struggling down the stretch, giving up errors to lose games. Right now, really responding well with their backs against the wall and only a couple of outs left in this game for them to respond.
The NCAA Women's Basketball Championship continues tonight at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific on ESPN2 with more first-round matchups. Check local listings for the game in your area, and remember, they're also live on the ESPN app, so you can watch anywhere. Tying run at second base. And in steps Lenny Malkin. Big at bat here for Arkansas. 2 runs already in the inning. And Malkin goes after a pitch high and away, 0-2.
And she has been susceptible to that rise ball. Rogers so crafty starting that up in the zone, and it just continues to climb the ladder as it attacks the hitter. Malkin needs to show control over that up pitch.
And Malkin just stays alive.
And the difference between that pitch and the one right before, the one before had a little bit more bite, meaning the spin was a little bit more tight and was able to get up in the zone a little bit faster. If Rogers gets tight and does not spin the ball will sit flat, and Malkin can take advantage of that.
Malkin goes down swinging. The 10th strikeout of the afternoon for Ashley Rogers. And she gets Tennessee out of the inning.
Rogers gets pulled early in the inning, but comes back strong with a strikeout to finish the Arkansas tie.
What started off as a pitcher's duel partner has turned into a bit more of an exciting affair, at least offensively.
Arkansas able to respond with some big hits. Ashley Diaz, that 2-run home run, got him ahead early, but able to respond later in the game. The top half of this inning has been an exciting one.
New pitcher on the mound for Arkansas is Mary Half, who has had some struggles in SEC play,
but will come in with a different look than Autumn Storm. Storm stayed down in the zone. Half will go up in the zone. She also is a little bit of a slower pitcher, so she has to make sure that she focuses on that spin to make the ball jump through the zone.
Taking on Jenna Holcomb at the bottom of the order. Half, as you saw on your screen, a 2.09 ERA for the season, but in SEC play, 6.11 ERA.
Half just gives a much different look than Storm. Storm stays hard and down in the bottom of the zone. Half will go with a curveball and a rise ball. So hitters are going to need to stay on top of that rise ball to be effective. Holcomb does not have a lot of power, so the defense will play her in.
And she lines it right up the middle, taking what the defense gives her, a leadoff single for Holcomb.
And that's the purpose of the 9-hole hitter, to make sure that you get on to turn it over and flip over the lineup to those bigger hitters and fast runners at the top of the lineup in Leach, Ayala, and Seger. So Holcomb down there took advantage of a defense playing her in and pinching her tight and just punched it through the infield to get herself on.
And now back to the top of the order we go, Aubrey Leach. Leach missing on the bunt attempt. To talk about the balance of this Tennessee team, all 9 volunteer batters have reached safely today.
Well, and it's these top 3 hitters that have supplied 5 RBI in this game.
Leach takes upstairs, 1-2. Half getting the signs from the Arkansas dugout. Checks her wristband and now into the wind. Half was so dominant to start the non-conference season, and then at Ole Miss ran into a really odd hiccup. Was called for 2 illegal pitches, and then sort of lost her composure in that series. And Courtney Deifel said, look, that really got her off her game, and it stayed with her a little bit longer than maybe they might have expected. Chopper to short, thrown out in time. All runners are safe.
A slapper lives and dies by a ball on the ground. The more times you can get the ball to bounce, the better chance you have of getting down the line. How many times did that ball bounce? She got it a total of 1, 2, and 3. If you can get the ball on the ground 3 hops, you're safe down the line, especially with the speed of Leach.
And now here's Amanda Ayala. She has 2 stolen bases today. Has reached twice, scored once, drove in a run on an RBI single back in the 3rd. Solid in the 2 spot today for the Volunteers. And a check swing sends it foul.
So Ayala does have some pop and some power, but the issue is their speed on the bases. What that does is it puts pressure on the defense to make a play and make it quickly across the diamond, because you're not going to have a play probably at the base that you're closest to because of the speed that's taking off with contact of the bat.
Ayala drops down the bunt. Only play is at first. Both runners advance. And now 2 in scoring position and 1 down for Tennessee.
Confident sack bunt. A selfless play. Recognizing that moving a runner is a great idea with the bat of Segern coming up.
Tennessee 3 for 12 now with runners in scoring position. Chelsea Segern, 1 of those 3 hits. Drove in 2 on a single back in the 4th. Pops this sky high in the infield. Monzo under it. 2 away.
Sometimes when a pitch comes in big, your eyes get too greedy and you drop that barrel head through the zone, and that's what Segern did. A solid pop-up, but it doesn't leave the infield.
And now Haley Bearden. 2 on, 2 out. First pitch swinging. High pop-up to right. Warwick settling. And she ends the inning. So Tennessee strands 2, leading by 2 after 6 in Knoxville. Final inning from Knoxville. 2-run deficit for Arkansas thanks to this 2-run 6th.
And Katie Warwick came away with the first RBI. Then Ashley Diaz comes away with another one on a sac fly to deep left. But that's all they could get as Ashley Rogers comes back in, gets the strikeout to end the inning. And right now, Arkansas still trailing by 2 in the top of the 7th.
Rogers had come out earlier in the inning with 2 on after walking and then giving up a single. And then Arnold faced 4 batters before Rogers came back in to get her 10th strikeout of the game. 3rd time this season that she's recorded 10 or more strikeouts. Now she takes on Parr, Duncan, and Green. Bottom part of the order for Arkansas. Chopper to short, fielded by Segern, and on to first just in time, 1 away. SportsCenter 6 Eastern with Zubin Mahinti. We'll have highlights, analysis, and reactions from today's first round games. Plus, the countdown is on for Zion and Duke's game tonight against North Dakota State at 7:10 Eastern. And a look back at this week's key NFL moves in case you missed any. It's a special 2-hour edition of SportsCenter 6 p.m. Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app. And a hit by pitch sends Nicole Duncan over to first.
And this is just a graze. I don't know how much she even felt this one, but she'll take it. I mean, Arkansas right now just needing base runners, down by 2, needing to load as many opportunities onto the base paths as they can, and also come away with just some base hits, string them together. The long ball is not going to be able to win the game on this one. It could tie it, but it's not going to win it. So let's string some base hits together, and Arkansas can respond.
Taylor Green worked a tough at bat her last time up, drawing a walk against Rogers to get that 6th inning rally started for the Razorbacks. And is ahead in the count, 2-0.
It was just one batter later, after that 14 pitch at bat, that Green was able to put together that walk. Rogers was lifted after the next batter. So right now, needing to prove that she can stay in there. Kaylin Arnold not able to respond with. She tried to come in relief. That would give Rogers the opportunity to put the ball back in her hands. Ralph Weekly will take an opportunity now to go to the circle, chat with his freshman pitcher. This is one of those times I wish there was a mic out there in the circle. I want to hear what they say. He's one of the few coaches that doesn't cover his mouth when he talks to his pitchers out there in the circle. Maybe just need a different camera angle and we can read lips, right?
He and Karen Weekly, co-head coaches here at Tennessee, legends in college softball, have guided this Tennessee team to the College World Series in 7 of the last 13 seasons. Here's the 2-0. And a strike call to the outside corner. One on, one out. And a foul ball punched out of play.
Very reminiscent of her last at bat. Anything close, Taylor Green able to foul it off, go right back at these hitters. A great shot of Abby Lockman calling the pitches out to her infield. She has to sit out this year due to a surgery she had in the fall, but still staying very invested in the dugout and trying to be a leader from the bench.
2-2 to Green, and she fights it off out of play. And that was the interesting thing when we talked to Karen Weekly. You lose your freshman stud in Allie Shipman. You think, okay, we can rely on our upperclassman who has started for us behind the plate in Abby Lockman, but no dice because she's redshirted after shoulder surgery.
So who do you go to? The freshman, Gracie Osborne. That's been the nice thing about having a deep bench. Tennessee purposefully extending that roster a season or two ago to make sure that they had speed off the bench, but also players to go to in case of injury, and that coming in huge for them this year.
3-2 misses low and in, and another walk drawn by Taylor Green, who has put together some exceptional at-bats this afternoon. 27 pitches in 3 at-bats.
And the composure that she's able to show by being able to stand in there, watch those balls out of the zone, foul off the ones that are on the corners, and draw those 2 walks. 2 of the most impressive at-bats today in this game. But because she is being pulled for a pinch runner, she will not be allowed to re-enter. This will be her last chance on the diamond because she's been taken out again.
Heidi Bugarin, the pinch runner at first. She represents the game-tying run for Arkansas. Hannah McEwen now up with 1 out and 2 on. Back to the top of the order. She's reached base the last 2 times she's come up, both singles, and both times she has come around to score.
That's one clear field, number 43, Hannah McEwen.
One of the toughest leadoff hitters in the SEC against one of the best pitchers in the SEC. And this Arkansas lineup has certainly made it tougher on Ashley Rogers as the game has worn along. Ralph Weekly has called time.
Rogers has only given up 5 hits, or Rogers has only given up a couple of hits in this game, but 2 of them have been to McEwen. So we'll see a pitching change to try to get McEwen out.
Second pitching change in as many innings. And it is Maddie Moss coming on for Tennessee. The senior from Greenville, South Carolina. The Volunteers will rely on her to get out of the 7th inning jam.
Maddie Moss, really the senior, the veteran that they bring in the circle. I was expecting to see her start tomorrow, but she'll come in and try to give Rogers the close here. She throws a similar speed to Rogers, but she's really tried to change her speeds this year. She's using different grips, different pressure points in her pitches, and because of that, she's trying to mix her speeds, mix her locations. As a hitter, though, they're going to need to step in here. Arkansas cannot change their game plan. She will go down in the zone primarily. You will see a mix of speed with a changeup and now an off-speed drop that is new to her repertoire. So right now, again, staying in their legs, but that pitcher right there, Ashley Rogers, so impressive for Tennessee. We will see her again this weekend. We've got all 3 games covered for you this weekend, so make sure you come back because this young player, really a key component to Tennessee.
For those of you who are tuning in for the Swimming and Diving Championships, that you can find on the ESPN app, and then we'll join them on ESPNU at the conclusion of this game. Arkansas making it tough for Tennessee to close it out. Moss, 2 saves, pitched 5 shutout innings against Liberty on Tuesday. Tennessee faithful in full effect in the SEC home opener for the Vols. So now it's McEwen and Moss.
McEwen has put herself in great hitting situations. She's got 2 singles, both to the right side, so anticipate that Maddie will use that curveball that she loves to all different quadrants. She will ride this in on the hands of McEwen and force her to go to that same spot out there and right.
1-1 to McEwen. Ten multi-hit games this season for McEwen. On a 13-game hit streak. When you face Maddie Moss, you typically expect the ball in the zone. 9-1 strikeout to walk ratio. She pegs the inside corner with a strike.
We saw the hesitation out of McEwen, recognizing that was the pitch she wanted to hit. Maddie Moss, a very high energy pitcher, very vocal, but the right side needing to be ready. The thing that will come into play is the sun as it begins to set over the backstop. That right side, a ball up in the air, could cause some problems.
2-2 pitch. And it gets past Osborne. And both runners advance.
That's something really hard to do back behind the plate. As you get pitchers changing in the circle, you've got to take into account the amount of spin each of their pitches has, and each pitcher very different. And now this, the 3rd pitcher in this game that Osborne, just a freshman, having to control back there behind the dish.
Tying run is moved up to second base. Full count. And a ball in the dirt. A walk drawn by Hannah McEwen to load the bases.
And that looked to be that off-speed drop that's new this year. She slowed her motion up just a little bit. That's a telltale sign to hitters that they are going to be trying to keep their weight back, recognizing that arm speed slowdown. That's a tip to the hitter to make sure they stay back. And now with bases loaded, Arkansas, great opportunity to get themselves back in this game.
Tying run at second. Go ahead run at first. For a very dangerous Danielle Gibson. She's 4 for 5 this year with the bases loaded, including a home run.
But Matt, if you look at the numbers today, she has really struggled. You wonder if that wrist injury is playing into it, but so far she is 0 for 3 today with 3 strikeouts. That's a tough mental hurdle to get over, and right now trying to redeem herself.
Injured that wrist, making a tag up the first baseline in the series against Tulsa. She's behind with the count 0-2. strikeout for Maddie Moss. 2 gone.
And so that change of speed really coming into it. A new pitch for Maddie Moss this year, an off-speed drop. Does she trust it? Oh, yes, she does. A big hitter gets her. A tough pitch to stay back on as it starts up in the zone, but that mix of speed gets her out on that front side. A swing and a miss. Danielle Gibson goes down. Maddie Moss victorious against Gibson.
Re-entering the hit for Arkansas, right fielder number 55, Katie Warwick.
Warwick will come to the plate after this meeting between Ralph Weekly and our home plate umpire, Ed Clark. And now a visit to the mound from Ralph Weekly. Tying run at second base. Been a fun game 1 in this 3-game set.
I tell you what, this is what you expect in a top 20 matchup, though. We've got 5 versus 18, both of them trying to keep RPI high, but also come away with another series win. Arkansas last weekend able to come away with a series win against South Carolina after hiccuping against Ole Miss, only coming away with 1. But the Rally Caps are out. They're looking to get game 1, put themselves in the driver's seat in this series.
Tennessee took down 4th-ranked Florida in its opening SEC series. To start off their second series in conference play on the right foot. Oh, 0-1 count to Warwick.
Maddie Moss, one of those pitchers that it's fun to play defense behind because she will give you your props. She will turn around, she will acknowledge you, and she will keep you engaged in the game simply because of the energy that she has in the circle.
Going for her 3rd save of the season. Warwick shoots a foul ball down the left field line. 0-2. Rise to their feet here at Cherry Parker Lee Stadium. Bases loaded, 2 out. Tying run at second base. And Moss closes out the contest with back-to-back strikeouts. Bases loaded for Arkansas, partner, and the pitching of Tennessee comes through.
Well, and they had to use 3 different pitchers, but able to do it in the circle and come away with a lot of big swings to get this big win over Arkansas.
Tennessee defeats Arkansas 6-4. So long from Knoxville, Tennessee.